We are dealing with the federal takeover of DC, my home. This episode is a little bit late this week because I have been out in the city, just trying to be among the people, see what's going on for myself. We're on the eve of revolution here, and it's no question that the sun is setting on this version of the world and how things have been. And obviously, the night is about to come, and it begs a lot of questions about what it is that we are about to experience for sure. But the real question is, who do we have to become to survive this? Who do we become to make all of this worth it? Who do we prove to ourselves that we are? We're probably about to have to stomach some shit we never thought that we'd see. And I'm asking, how do we do both the individual and the collective capacity building within ourselves to become the people who survive this? And yes, it's strategy, it's organizing, it's coalition building for sure. How do we start narrating what it means moment by moment to identify who we are not, and then also start implementing who it is that we decide to be? That's the game. It starts now. We're seeing assaults on democracy. We're seeing assaults on immigrants. We're seeing assaults on trans youth in schools. It's so interesting to me, preoccupation with other people is more so about not having to come out ourselves. We're going to have to name who we are now. We're going to have to signal our values. We have to come out of our own closets relationally, politically, interpersonally, to ourselves and to the people that we love. What are we about? We can't afford to live in the comfort of the make-believe in a moment where we're being called to rebuild this shit brick by brick. Except this part is completely unscripted. So it's requiring us to author something moment by moment, day by day, hour by hour, and decide how it is that we want this story to play out. In a lot of ways, it's because we haven't really had to do that. We've been living this template model. And the problem with the template model is the fact that in addition to keeping us from having to think about ourselves in real time and plan as we go and build a yellow brick road as we go, is not only the lack of thinking, but it's the fact that it requires us to engage in this level of mimicking. Because if we're trying to really actually build this bridge from where we are now to where we want to be, a lot of it is going to come down to these immediate decisions about making sure that every brick that we lay actually reflects who we really are and not just something that we've learned. We're not just out here mimicking something that we've been conditioned to believe and to practice. I feel like we're all just trying to figure out what the name of the game is for these next days, months, and years, not only here in DC, but in the country and obviously the world. This isn't just a revolution about getting some type of administration out of office or just switching out these elected officials. This is the end of not only business as usual, but it's the end of a two-party system. There's not enough space for who we actually are to fit into these two separate parties that are so rigid. What we're talking about right now isn't isolated to this one man, this one administration. This isn't just about old dudes, power drunk fantasies about who it is that he wants to be seen as. We know who he is. We've seen him before. Everybody's met a version of him. But to me, this moment is really more so about what does it mean to introduce him to us? How do we stand on business in terms of who it is that we actually are, but how it is that we start actually practicing who we really are in our everyday lives, in our communities. One of my favorite things that I've seen so far is the way in which communities have come together to start figuring out how to practice their own internal protection. How do they watch out for ICE or other federal patrols on the street? How do we keep people who are more vulnerable less visible? And how do we pick up some of that slack so they don't have to put themselves in harm's way to go about the business of their day? And all of that, to me, is not only beautiful, but that is the actual strategy that serves this larger system. Like, what are the systems that we're actually trying to build? And how do we even get to the point where we're able to describe them? And the only way that we're able to do that is if we start practicing it in our real everyday lives so that we can start using words to say, oh, this is actually how it feels when we do this. This is actually how it feels when we start telling the truth. So much of this moment is the way in which we muzzle ourselves and have learned to muzzle ourselves and our wants and our needs because it has served a system that ultimately keeps us muted. And how is it that we start undoing that effort or that work? How is it that we start undoing the damage that we've blindly participated in terms of the lies that we've told ourselves, in terms of the things that we know to be true but won't name in our own minds and our own spirits, in terms of the ways that we practice lies amongst one another? And so, what does it look like to navigate the discomfort in real time, not only with ourselves in terms of calling our own bullshit and understanding the ways in which we've been, fucking around with ourselves and with each other and playing in our own faces? There are so many of us who have been emotionally cheating on our current lives with the lives that we wish we were living instead. And the way in which that's playing out is in this broader national landscape. We have settled. And so maybe the first step is to start by being sometimes brutally honest with ourselves. Granted, we need to be compassionate and care and accountability, but so much of what we're doing right now comes down to our really broken relationship to truth and the way in which we practice truth within ourselves and truth amongst one another. We've been so afraid of hurting our own feelings about the ways in which we've lied to ourselves and to each other that we've stopped telling the truth, and it's gotten us here. This idea of not wanting to tell the truth to me goes back to this broader idea of not wanting to be inconvenienced, to not want to experience discomfort because we haven't made peace with that idea. I wonder if the strategy of this moment is more so about us trying to start making peace with discomfort. Because if we could make peace with discomfort, we could fix our broken relationship to truth. It's almost like we've been lying to ourselves because we don't want to hurt our own feelings about the ways in which we've betrayed ourselves and betrayed our relationships. We don't want to hurt other people's feelings in the ways in which we feel unfulfilled in the relationships we have participated in by design. The design that we've created because we've just been asleep at the wheel by accepting other people's ideas of what should be. We've been mimicking ideas of democracy and success without actually asking ourselves if it represents who it is that we know ourselves to be. And in order to even answer those questions, we would need to start asking better questions around the ways in which we might be performing shit on a day-to-day basis. As we sit here on the eve of revolution, understanding that the sun is setting on this version of things for sure, and yes, there's going to be a night that we have to live through in order to get to the dawn of what's to come. But this revolution is about our personal evolution, us actually stepping into the versions of ourselves that aren't performing, that aren't faking it because that's just the way that we've been told the game is played. We have to become something different right now. The work is more so about figuring out who those people are so that we can build a world that's worthy of them. Because this one clearly is not it. We have to entirely reimagine and change the way that we do business on a day-to-day basis. The way that we show up as ourselves, the way that we interact with each other, the way that we tell the truth. It's almost like we don't want to hurt our own feelings. We've been conditioned to think that hurt is harm, but hurt and harm are two different things. Hurt is more about discomfort, which it might be time for us to start making peace with. Harm is about damage, sometimes the type that you can't repair. Sometimes the truth does hurt. Sometimes we have to break parts of ourselves that have been shaped by the lies other people have told us so that we will stop harming ourselves in the long term. In my own life and in the world that I observe, a lot of people are scared to tell the truth because they don't want to hurt themselves. They don't want to hurt their own feelings. They don't want to hurt the people that they love's feelings. They don't want to hurt anybody. And that's just such a natural, benevolent instinct. But if we started understanding our ability to tell the truth as causing discomfort and not necessarily damage, we might be on our way. Sometimes we're still dancing around the truth because we want to make it have the least amount of impact as possible. And does that serve us? We're just scared for our truth to cause discomfort. This culture of respectability has taught us that the truth isn't allowed to hurt. If we keep ourselves from telling the truth because we've been told that it's not allowed to not feel good, and the moment we start changing our relationship to discomfort and making peace with that, we change the entire game.